Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Hemster.
And me, Liam Underwood. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Preacher, Book 1. But before we get to that, it's time for my favourite segment, Catching Up with Jack and Liam. So, tell me, Jack, what's new with you this week?
I've been playing video games again, Liam. I'm back into video gaming.
I didn't know you'd ever kind of stopped.
See, I didn't either. Like, I've been playing a lot of indie games recently, like for quite a few months, just like small little release games. And then the other day I was like, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to buy myself Batman Arkham Knight and Just Cause 3. And I realised that I haven't really been properly gaming. I've just been sitting there, you know, watching shit, playing games that you don't need to interact with too much.
Yeah,
and then suddenly
the sort of games you can have on in the background, like there's something to do.
They don't need me to constantly
elsewhere.
be. Yeah, I don't need to be sitting there going, "What's happening?" There's not a storyline really.
See, right? I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to trophy hunting, but I find once you've completed a game, let's take Uncharted for example, you complete it and then you need to go back looking for trophies and whatnot because you've already experienced the story. While you're going back looking for the artifacts and the treasures and stuff. You can be doing that and then have like a podcast or something on in the background, so you're not giving it your full attention. Yeah,
but this is the thing. I have other games to like not kill time, but I have games that I don't need to be paying attention to, so I don't need to. I don't with the big AAA games. I don't need to go back. Like I'm not trying to kill time with them. Like for me, it's like once I finish a story, I'm like I don't know. The story's done. Like it's like I wouldn't go back and replay. I tried to go back and replay the first Mass Effect, and I can't. Because my story's done. Yeah,
but that's a game where your role in it is so integral to how the game unfolds.
What game are you thinking of where your role isn't integral to the story?
Well, something like Uncharted.
Batman Arkham Knight. No, you're right. Batman Arkham Knight. Nothing to do with you. You're just witnessing all this shit go down.
Yeah, there's a lot of games where
got much to do with it.
Yeah, like I think Mass Effect has a lot of your decisions affect the game, but there's a lot of games where you are literally just kind of witnessing and sort of interacting with the story as it unfolds, but nothing you do can change it though.
Like, it's still a story, and I wouldn't... If I finish a movie, my first reaction isn't to rewatch the movie.
Depends how good the movie is.
No, but even then, I'm talking about, like, straight away, because that's the equivalent of this. Is like, you're finishing a game, and then you're like, what are the trophies I've got to get? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right? With a film, I wouldn't immediately... Say I just watched a new Blu-ray of, like, Judge Dredd, and I'm like, I fucking love Judge Dredd, so I'm going to rewatch it. Because I want to catch all the Easter eggs I didn't get the first time.
Would you maybe say, I've just watched Judge Dredd on Blu-ray, now I'm going to watch the extras?
I thought you were going to say, on Blu-ray, would you then watch it on DVD?
No.
Lower quality, sir.
You've then got the extras, where, it's like the movie, but
I don't watch
different.
extras that much.
Well, but I imagine that's because you probably download a lot of your movies, so it doesn't come with
not
extras.
Not necessarily. I've got quite a few DVDs that I actually own that I haven't watched the extras on.
Fair enough. But do you see I get
what
that analogy? Yeah.
I get what you're saying. But yeah, like you say, I think we both just disagree on how we
play games.
Go about those games. Yeah.
I mean, I think as long as we both enjoy them the way we do play them, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And what's good about gaming, really, is the fact that we can enjoy them in different ways, but still enjoy them.
Exactly. I mean, you get that with anything. Like, you could do that with films as well.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, I imagine people sit there and just think about the director and, like, they're like, oh, that's a beautiful shot that guy's just done there. Don't know.
Or maybe they look at it from a special effects view. Like, they watch the movie for the story and then they go back and watch it to see how the special effects were done or something, perhaps.
Yeah, just seems weird.
Or maybe going back and watching it with, like, the director's commentary or something.
That's right, I've never done that either. Never. Or have I? Oh, I might have done a director's commentary of, like...
Kevin Smith movies are pretty good to watch with his commentary.
Not a big fan of Kevin Smith.
Well, maybe not for you then, but for those that are. I tried it with Lord of the Rings, but the issue is, with the extended editions, they haven't kind of got the whole cast together to talk all at once. So what they've done is that they've got, like, little groups of the cast together, and they've all recorded commentaries for, like, their scenes.
I think I might have watched some of the Lord of the Rings ones.
Yeah. It's kind of disappointing. Yeah, because
you want it to be... You almost want it to be, like, a podcast... But, or not a podcast, but like a what's it, like Mystery Science Theatre? Like the way they used to talk over a film or whatever.
Yeah, where they're watching it with you talking.
Yeah. That's how you picture director's commentary, is the director being like, oh, this is one of my favourite scenes in the film.
Yeah, so one good thing, it's not a movie, but Ross Noble's stand-up DVDs normally come with a lot of extras, and one of them, there's a commentary where I think there's 3 different cuts or something of his stand-up. Like, he's done it at 3 different locations, and he says, right, this is a version of the commentary you can watch where I'm going to sit down and record it all at once. So if you want to spend your day, you can sit down kind of with me. We'll have a pizza break in the middle where we'll order pizza together, and we can kind of go through all of this content together. And I think that's kind of the way to do it.
Yeah, no, that sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, I'd like just for the extras, the Ross Noble stand-up DVDs are normally pretty good value.
Fair enough.
Anyway, we were sidetracking. You were gaming again.
I've been gaming. I've been playing Just Cause 3 and Batman Arkham Knight.
Right, we see differently when it comes to Arkham Knight, because I wasn't a huge fan of it.
I think it's an incredible game. I think it's the best one in that trilogy.
I haven't played City, but I really enjoyed Asylum.
City was good. Like, the other 2 games are brilliant as well. But I think they just, like, because the big complaint everyone had with Batman Arkham Knight was the Batmobile stuff.
Yeah, I hate it.
And that's your issue with it as well, yeah. And it's not great, but it's such a minor part of the game unless you make it a major part of the game. Like, I ended up flying around the city more than I did driving. Yeah,
and I think I hated the driving missions apart from the stuff with the Riddler. I liked that, but I would have been happy if that was all that you used the Batmobile for.
But then, like, there's only maybe like 2 missions or 3 missions in the main story that you actually have to use the car.
Yeah, but again, right, this is if you just do the main story. I like to do all the side missions as well.
To get to the point in the game that I got to, because the game ends, then you have to complete a certain number of those side missions to get the ending.
Yeah.
Then you have to complete 100% of the game to unlock the true ending.
Yeah.
So I've got that second one. Like, I've not 100%ed it, but I'm close.
Okay.
And like, so I've done a lot of those vehicle ones, and the vehicle ones are the bombs that are buried under the ground.
Yeah.
That's one that you have to use the vehicle for.
Yeah.
And sometimes, rarely, it's the convoys. It's also so there's only 2 that use it.
Yeah, but it's not like you only do it twice. You have to do those missions several times.
Yeah. But they're not like, when you look at how much is in that game, I don't know, it just seems weird to me, because when you look at it, there's so much content in this game that isn't that. I don't understand how that being in it can ruin the game. Like, just fucking don't do those missions.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it ruined the game. I found that stuff particularly repetitive and tedious. But I think it was maybe just one of those issues where the game felt too big. So it's like I never could really get into it because there was always so much to be doing that I actually find that a little bit off-putting sometimes.
But then, see, this is the thing. Like, I would have, at certain times I'd be playing it and I'd be like, I'm not in the mood to do the main story.
Yeah.
So I'd go and do a load of side missions, just be doing content like that. And then I'd power through a chunk of the main story and just do like 5 missions in a row, all of the main story, just not worry about the side quests. Like, it doesn't stop you. Like, if that's the issue, just don't worry about the side quest till later, sort of thing. Like, I get it if it was like, because some games do, like, here's the main story, and then it's like, where's the next mission? Oh, it's locked because I haven't done enough side content. And that's bullshit. But this one doesn't do that. It doesn't stop you.
And how's Just Cause 3?
It's okay. It's terrible story. It's what you expect from a Just Cause game. It's fucking fun mayhem, but the missions are silly and not great.
Fair enough. So, what else have you been up to this week?
I've got one other thing that I've done, Liam, that I can think of, and that's I saw the movie Inside Out.
Yeah.
I cried like a little baby in that film quite a few times, and I was worried that was just me. Like, I know I get emotional at films.
Yeah, you do.
But I was having some drinks with some of the guys at the youth group I help at yesterday, and I said to one of them, I was like, oh yeah, I watched Inside Out, because I know he likes those kind of films, and he was like, oh yeah, it's a good film. And then I was like, yeah, I was crying at bits that aren't sad, and he was like, yes, yeah, 100%. So I don't think it's just me, but there are literally bits in that film that aren't sad. Like, you'll be watching a scene, you're like, this isn't an emotional scene, but you'll just be upset and start, like, I was just crying, and I was like, I'm not even on a sad bit of the film, I'm just crying.
See, I have the film to watch, I haven't seen it yet. I was going back and kind of doing Pixar from Toy Story onwards.
I'm going to watch everything.
Yeah. I'm up to Ratatouille, that's my next one, which I've never seen before as well. There's like a couple of Pixar films I've never seen before, like WALL-E is another one.
Oh, WALL-E's really good.
Yeah, so I've been kind of building up to Inside Out, I'm just not there yet.
I don't know, it's really good.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to eventually getting there. The issue is, like, I haven't been spending a lot of time watching my film collection lately, because I've been going to the cinema a lot. Did you see
none of
that?
us
Did
know
you
that,
see
yeah.
that segue? That is a segue.
brilliant.
So Liam went to the cinema, and this is his spoiler-free reviews of the films that he saw at the cinema since we last recorded. So
I like that you add that little caveat at the end.
Yeah.
Since we recorded.
I went to see Batman vs Superman again.
But Liam, you've seen that one before we last recorded.
Yeah, I saw it the second time.
There we go.
That's why I said I went to see it again.
I just wanted you to make sure, mate. I wanted our listeners to know.
I did say I went to see it again. So as our more dedicated listeners would know, we recorded a whole podcast about our thoughts on Batman vs Superman. So if you haven't listened to that, go check that out. The reason why I wanted to watch it again was because I was so excited on my first viewing that I wasn't sure if that was maybe clouding my judgment. So I thought I'd go and see it again with a maybe more... no, what's the word I'm looking for?
No, because it's not... Because what you want to say is you go in with an more open mind.
Yeah.
You didn't. I don't believe you. I don't think you went in and you went, I'm going to try and understand why Jack didn't like this film.
No, that wasn't my thing.
Happened.
I went in and I was just like, right, maybe now I can watch it without all of that excitement kind of interfering my thoughts. And I still just really enjoyed it. Like, it feels like a comic book movie that's kind of been made almost specifically for me. It gave me everything I've been wanting out of comic book movies for a while now. So 4 out of 5, I super enjoyed it still. The next movie I went to see was The Huntsman, Winter's War.
I saw your tweet about The Huntsman. I can't believe you gave it a 3.
The thing is...
That's high. You said average. 3 is high.
I will admit, 3 is maybe high. The thing is, so before the night before I watched Snow White and Huntsman, because I'd never seen it before, I'm a fan of Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth, but even that couldn't kind of save the film for me. Why I gave The Huntsman Winter's War a 3 is because it is better than Snow White and the Huntsman, which is a 2. So maybe 3 is a little bit generous. The saving grace for The Huntsman Winter's War is Nick Frost returns as one of the dwarves, and this time there's Rob Brydon, who is a new character, and in the film he's Nick Frost's half-brother.
Right.
And they provide a lot of comic relief. So there was definitely a couple of times where I was chuckling along. So it was better than I was expecting it to be. I think I might just tweak that to a 2 still. I think 2 out of 5 is still fair. 3 is maybe a bit too generous. But, if you dig the first one, definitely give this a go. I'd say it's better. Then I went to see Hardcore Henry. Do you know anything about that?
No idea.
It's been... You might have seen the director is this Russian guy, and he's done some YouTube music videos where they're stunts and fighting, but they're all filmed with a GoPro.
Oh, okay.
Bad Motherfucker is one of them. It probably is the most popular one.
No idea.
Okay. So the entire movie, it's 96 minutes, and it's all filmed from a first-person perspective. You're like a cyborg, your wife gets kidnapped, you have to fight your way across Russia to save her.
Okay.
It's not very good.
No. Immediately, the first person, that... Yeah. I don't know a film where that's worked. The most memorable one that springs to my mind is the absolute shite movie, Doom, which has a first-person camera sequence at the end. And is one of the most atrocious pieces of film history. Yeah.
I can't think of any examples where it's worked. Especially, I think this is the first time they've done it for a whole movie. And the issue is, it's like watching someone else play in a video game.
Yeah.
Which is never as fun as playing it yourself. And it therefore is just a kind of frustrating movie experience, because you're like, this isn't a fun experience.
Yeah.
So 1 out of 5 would not recommend.
Nice.
And then the last movie I went to see was Midnight Special, which
I didn't have high hopes for, but you did before, didn't you? We were talking about it maybe last week.
I was curious.
Right, okay.
I didn't know a lot about it, and I say it is better to go in knowing nothing. So I'm not going to say anything about the story. All I'll say is something happens in the final act, and it kind of, I think people will either really respond well to it, or like me, it'll kind of dampen it a lot, because I was enjoying the mystery and seeing it unravel. By the final act, it felt like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, got you. Just an unsatisfactory ending to this mystery they're building in the film.
And all I'll say is this movie feels clearly indebted to Spielberg, and by the third act, it kind of becomes really obvious what film. I don't want to say what film, because that will give too much away, but it was just... I was enjoying it up to that point, and then it was disappointing. Adam Driver's in it, and he's probably the best part of it, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
I'm still going to say 3 out of 5, because the majority of the movie is fun. It's just... Maybe fun's not the right word. Interesting.
Yeah.
But the ending lets it down. And that's all the movies I saw at cinema this week.
Oh.
That's not all I've been doing. The other thing, and it's not playing with my penis, because I know that's something we do like to discuss on this show, and I did have a go at shaving my balls recently, which was a relative success. Have you ever tried it?
I don't want to talk about it.
No, but have you ever tried it?
What, shaving my balls?
Yeah, like not just trimming, but like
No.
an actual razor on skin.
No.
Yeah, I was really apprehensive, but my curiosity got the better of me, and I was really bored one day.
That's just such a terrible reason.
It's a bad combination. Now, what I would say, if anyone listening is thinking about this, because I know we have a lot of male listeners, there is one unexpected thing to be prepared for if you decide to give this a go, and that's like thigh rubbing. Like, I never really noticed my balls sort of chafing on my thighs before, but now it's kind of a prominent concern of mine.
I don't think anyone needs to know that.
They don't need to. They want to. That's the worrying thing.
I don't think they do.
Well, they do. But yeah, I've been watching a couple of shows on Netflix. Now, the first one I've recommended to you before. It's called Love. That took me a couple of episodes to get into, but I really ended up enjoying it, so I highly recommend it. The second is a show called Flaked, which is written by and stars Will Arnett.
Oh, okay.
Now, I really struggled getting a handle on the tone of this show. Like, it's not out and out comedy. It's quite dramatic, and his acting is phenomenal in it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Every episode, I just couldn't quite figure out if I was really liking it or not, because it is just a bit tonally inconsistent. It's real interesting though. The premise: he is a recovering alcoholic. 10 years ago, he got drunk, was in a car accident and killed someone. So the show takes place 10 years after that, and he lives in Venice Beach, and he's quite he helps with he attends Alcoholics Anonymous. No, I'm saying that wrong. Let me try that again.
Anonymous.
He lives in Venice Beach, and he attends Alcoholics Anonymous and helps other people.
Okay.
But he's also he's also quite a selfish character. It's just a real hard show I found to wrap my head around. So it was good enough that I want to see a second season, and I would recommend you watch it just because I need someone to kind of explain to me what I saw, because I can't quite get a handle on it, just tonally. But it was decent. Okay. I don't think I did the best job of selling it.
I'll give it a watch.
Yeah. Now, the other show I've been watching, which we've briefly discussed, and I'm not going to go into spoilers, but season 6 of The Walking Dead finished last week.
Yeah.
No spoilers, because I know
Thank you.
You're not up to date yet. You said you were going to spend the weekend catching up.
And then I watched Inside Out instead.
Right. That's a 2-hour movie.
I was emotionally distraught for hours.
Just try watching The Walking Dead.
I don't imagine it will make me cry like Inside Out did.
Probably not. But you honestly need to be catching up.
I'm going to!
You need to be. Anyway, so season 6. I'm normally quite sniffy about the TV show. In the past, it's frustrated me because I'm a huge fan of the comics. I love them. I'm annoyed, in the past I've been annoyed that the TV show was never quite as good as the comics. And I was always like, look, you've got this amazing wealth of material to draw from. Don't just have them searching through the woods for half a season. There's so much you could be doing with this. This season, I'd say, is probably the first season that actually sticks closest to the comics. And, I mean, it does its own thing in places, but it's really good. And the finale was superb. It's everything I've known The Walking Dead could be, and it's so nice to finally see it hit that.
Yeah.
So really enjoyed it. Would massively recommend.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it. I will. Don't worry.
Okay. Hopefully by the time we do the next episode, because I want to talk about the finale with you.
Maybe.
And that's it for catching up with Jack and Liam, I believe.
Yeah.
So now we go on to nerd news,
which is our favourite part of the show.
Don't you mean yours?
No,
it's not mine. It's not mine.
No, our joint favourite part of the show is this one. Your favourite part is catching up with, and my favourite part is culture swap.
I'm not a big fan of nerd news.
Well, aren't you just a dickhead?
Look, I can take it or leave it. The issue with nerd news is it dates our show.
You talk about what films are out in the cinema that you went to see.
They might be out on Blu-ray.
You date our show more accurately than
when people in the future listen, those films will probably be out on Blu-ray, and those thoughts will still be relevant.
So will Nerd News.
No one gives a fuck what happened to the Suicide Squad trailer once the film's out.
Yeah, because they get to look back when we do our Suicide Squad special, and they're like, oh, it's crazy that Jack and Liam predicted it perfectly.
That is something worth mentioning, actually, and I think Nerd News is the perfect area to discuss that. Because of the overwhelmingly positive response our Batman vs Superman review got, we will be doing more one-off specials, and I believe the next one will be Civil War. My tickets are already booked. Are yours?
Nope.
That wasn't to you, that was to the listeners.
Oh.
But,
well, you sort of gestured at me.
Well,
mine aren't.
You need to work on that since we're doing
I don't book tickets, I just go, because I've never gone to a cinema and been turned away for lack of tickets.
Yeah, but I like getting the aisle seat so I can have a little stretch with my legs.
The aisle seat's the worst seats.
How?
Unless you have a central aisle.
Yeah.
Right, then that's fine. What cinema are you going to? Central aisle cinemas are small.
Yeah, my cinema is quite small.
You noob.
Anyway, Nerd News. Jack, what's been happening in the world of nerd?
So, one of the things that's been happening in the world of nerd, Liam, is a little game, I don't know if you've heard of it, called Rust.
No, I haven't actually.
Fair enough. It's a survival game, you know, the classic sort of DayZ, go out into the world, get enough stuff to survive.
Okay.
Build guns. I think you get guns in Rust. Build bows and arrows. Shoot everyone.
I maybe saw a YouTube video where someone was saying that this is like the biggest betrayal ever in a video game, and it kind of went a bit viral on Reddit or some shit.
Possibly. It's the kind of game where, yeah, that sort of stuff happens.
Okay.
But, so basically, the game has always... Like, when it first came out, you always just all played as the same character. He looked the same. Then they got in... Well, they caused a bit of controversy, I guess, even though it shouldn't have been controversy, when it randomly gave you a race, which is, you know, that's fine.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect anything. Then, recently, they've added... So the thing that just got released was gender, so now randomly... Your character is either male or female, and I believe it's based off your Steam name or your actual like handle. So if you're a female character, you'll never be a male character.
Okay.
And you'll always look the way your character looks.
Yeah.
Which, you know, again, fine. But it's fine for us, but people have kicked up a little bit of a fuss about the whole situation. They did it when the race thing was introduced. They're doing it again now that genders are introduced, and also penis size is now a factor.
Okay.
So, the major fuss is that people are like, well, I don't want to be a woman, and oh, it's bullshit. Which is all a little bit pathetic. Like,
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
If you're the sort of person that is bothered by the fact that you have to play as a woman, you need to kind of reassess your priorities.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
So that's that for Rust. The Suicide Squad trailer.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it. It looks good.
I like it too. My only concern, I'm done now. I don't need to see any more trailers. They've revealed just enough that I'm definitely going. I do not need another Batman vs Superman where before I even go into the movie, I see how the 3-act structure is going to work.
Yeah. What was this? Was this teaser trailer 2?
2 or 3, I think.
Because this is the issue. If it's only a teaser trailer,
oh yeah,
we are getting.
I would fully expect at least another 2, but I don't need them.
No.
I'm sold. They've got my money. I mean, just calm down with the marketing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I can hope, even if they do 2 more trailers, which they will, it would. You can hope it won't like ruin anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they could make trailers that don't like reveal how things are going to go, sort of thing.
I don't feel like I need to see any more of the movie. My only other concern with the trailer as well is it feels a lot like Deadshot is basically just Will Smith. Like, it's just Will Smith being Will Smith.
I mean, he's a bad guy, though, in this.
Yeah, I know, but you look at his dialogue and stuff, that, to me, doesn't feel like anything other than just your standard Will Smith dialogue. And that kind of concerns me, because it doesn't feel like a character, it just feels like Will Smith doing Will Smith. This is just obviously basing it off the trailer, and it could be way different in the movie. They could just be trying to, sell tickets like this. But that's the impression I'm currently getting.
Yeah. I hope it isn't. I'd like him to be an interesting Deadshot.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen he has decent acting range in the past as well, so it would be a shame if he isn't kind of given more to do than just his general, quips.
Yeah.
There was another trailer released, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
It looks like it's going to be rubbish.
It looks utter shite.
Yep.
I'm not on board with this movie at all. I feel like
They've done 8 films.
Yeah, that's enough.
Just stop.
Like, what? Does J.K. Rowling need another fucking
We had
mansion?
the story. They don't need to continue the universe.
No, I don't care what magic in America looks like. I'm sorry to any American listeners we may have, but I don't care what magic looks like in your country.
I don't even think it's an issue of the country. It's just we don't, it's not the fact that it's America, it's just the fact that we don't need more magic.
No.
We had the Harry Potter... The issue is they've established... It's not that the magic will change, it's that the ministry that governs the magic will be different, right?
Yeah, and
because
who cares?
We've established that the magic's the same. They're not going to suddenly be doing different spells. I mean,
Well,
they'll have more spells in it, but they're not going to be like, oh, in America we do Lumiosa.
No, but there's different words. So I think Muggle is a British word for non-magic users, and the word for American non-magic users is
Scum.
No-Mag.
That's a shit name.
Yeah, so I don't need to see more of that. And that's what I mean.
No.
I don't need to see the American version of this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
I didn't Harry Potter didn't end when I finished the books. I was like, as I am with any series of books I finish, I'm like, oh, I wish I could have more in this universe. But I'm also aware that I don't really want that.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to read a book where everyone's got a happy ending. So the only option they have is we're going to do a different character with a different story. But we don't need that. We don't need it.
No, it's done. Let it just be done. There'll be a Harry Potter remake in the next 10 years. Let them crack on with
I
that.
really hope not.
It's bound to be. I think that the state we're getting to with movies now is remakes are becoming quicker and quicker. I would be surprised if we don't have one. Maybe not 10, but next 20 years for sure.
I hope not.
I 100% agree. But I think that's just the way of movies, the way that it's going.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, if you think about it from a business standpoint, which I think a lot of people neglect to do when it comes to movies, if you're putting up tens of millions of dollars, you're going to go for the thing that has a surefire inbuilt audience that you can tap instead of a new property that you have to just kind of hope clicks.
Yeah.
So I get from a business perspective, it's just real infuriating from an entertainment perspective.
Yes.
Now, speaking of movies, regular listeners might remember a little while back we did a podcast where we discussed the Oscars in detail. And you had some issues with the Oscars, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, I remember one of your solutions to those issues was just let normal people vote.
I don't think that was I think what you're doing there is misremembering what I said. What I said is, I don't think there should be awards at all.
Pardon?
I don't think there should be awards at all.
Yeah, but you said if there has to be, you would rather hear from your average Joe audience instead of the stuffy Academy Jewish.
No, I
white...
didn't say no. See, because I don't know what this mystical news story you found is, but I can imagine it's going to be something like a bunch of average Joes did an award ceremony or some bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But what I said, I think, was I think me and you agreed in the fact that it should be people. So for films, it should be people like you, film fans who have seen all the movies. It's not so much the average. I don't care what the average Joe. I don't want them to check a guy who's like, I don't watch films, but I watched these 4 and I think this one was the best. I want it to be people that care about the thing.
It's interesting you say that, because I remember when we were discussing this as well, you were saying if it was just handed over to audiences to vote, do you remember what film you said would probably have won Best Movie of the Year?
Star Wars?
So the MTV Movie Awards happened very recently.
Okay.
Guess what won Best Movie of the Year?
Star Wars?
Yep. So
Okay.
these awards are voted for by, MTV viewers, I guess. So
Yeah.
again, maybe not...
They are not the average Joes
No.
of the world. I've seen
But-
MTV shows. I know what those people are.
But I feel like these results would probably skew closer to what would satisfy you and your kind of tastes. Which isn't insulting. I'm just saying,
I think it might be.
let me just give you some of the results,
All right,
okay?
go for it.
Because I agree with a lot of these as well. Best female performance went to Charlize Theron for Mad Max: Fury Road.
Yep, fair enough.
Now, she was up against Alicia Vikander for Ex Machina, Anna Kendrick for Pitch Perfect 2, Daisy Ridley for Star Wars, Jennifer Lawrence for Joy, and Marina Baccarin for Deadpool. So out of that selection, I mean, that's already what I would say is a better selection than what the Oscars had, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting that the Oscar winner wasn't even nominated in this award. That just shows you that a movie like Room, which I did enjoy, kind of isn't really regarded with this audience.
Yeah.
Now, there was another category that I think the Oscars really needs to pick up on. Best Virtual Performance.
Okay, is that so for like animated film?
Yeah. So again, I'll give you the nominees. We had Seth MacFarlane for Ted 2.
I think it's just Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane for Ted 2. Fuck knows how I'm going to do this one. Lupita Nyong'o.
Yep.
For Star Wars. James Spader for Avengers: Age of Ultron. Jack Black for Kung Fu Panda 3. Andy Serkis for Star Wars. And Amy Poehler for Inside Out.
Ooh.
Who do you think won?
Oh, I don't know. I was going to say Ultron, but then the Inside Out one was pretty good.
Amy Poehler was the winner.
There you go.
Also a category that I don't necessarily agree with, like the category's best action performance, okay? Now, what I would prefer to see a category for is stunt work. Because I feel like that's often overlooked, you know, like...
Yeah.
I mean, we watch these movies, like we look at James Bond, and we see Daniel Craig doing this stuff, but half of it isn't really Daniel Craig. I'm sure a lot of it is, but yeah. I would like to see more recognition go to stunt work. Now, action performance, it is just, you know, actors and actresses who are in action movies. So, Chris Pratt won for Jurassic World, which, you know, can't knock it. True Story, Straight Outta Compton won, which didn't really even get a look in with the Oscars. So, again, I'm pleased with that. Best Comedic Performance, Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool, can't complain.
No, yep.
Best Male Performance, this is where I have an issue, because it was Leo DiCaprio again for The Revenant, and like we said before, he's not even the best actor in that movie, so I don't know why he's getting all this award recognition for it.
Yep.
Breakthrough Performance is Daisy Ridley for Star Wars.
Yep.
Cannot complain at all.
Nope.
Best Villain, Adam Driver in Star Wars. You know, best fight, Deadpool versus Ajax. And then, I think one of my favourite categories, and I'd like to see if you could guess who won this. Best Kiss. So, here's the options. Margot Robbie and Will Smith for Focus. Marina Baccarin and Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool. Rebel Wilson and Adam Devine for Pitch Perfect 2. Amy Schumer and Bill Hader for Trainwreck. Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan for 50 Shades of Grey. And Leslie Mann and Chris Hemsworth for Vacation.
The issue, Liam, is that I've seen one of those films, I think.
Yeah.
And that was Deadpool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Deadpool because I don't know any of the others.
It was actually Rebel Wilson and Adam Devine for Pitch Perfect 2.
Yeah, no, I was lying. I've seen Pitch Perfect 2, and that's fair.
I haven't seen it yet. But I mean, that just... What a category to have.
It's a weird... I mean, that's a very MTV category.
Yeah. But like...
Do they have sexiest actor or actress? Because that is also very MTV.
No, but there was, on the website... Oh, sorry, there was also a Generation Award winner, which was Will Smith. And
what does that mean?
Just like he's old and gets an award, basically.
Right. Okay.
And a Comedic Genius Award winner, which went to Melissa McCarthy.
Okay.
Now, on the website, there wasn't like a, you know, sexiest award, but there was a Hot Dudes in Jackets at the 2016 Movie Awards ranking.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's very MTV.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I thought it was interesting, like, how different to the Oscars these categories are, and also the results, and I felt like they skewed more towards your kind of preference than the Oscars did.
I mean, I still don't think that awards are needed or necessary at all, right?
Okay.
But, I don't know, it feels like that is a more fair... Like, for what awards are meant, I don't know. It depends on what you think awards should be.
Yeah.
Like, when someone says, this was the best actor, should it be... Like, because at the moment, our options are a panel that is not necessarily going to get it because some of them don't watch it, whatever.
Yeah.
Or the MTV ones where it's like the public pick, but neither one of them is necessarily going to pick the best actor.
Well, how do you kind of...
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Quantify.
So what's the point in doing... But exactly. So, like, why do the awards at all? Because there's not a solution that gives us the correct answer.
Because surely it's better to have a best actor
Why?
than not to have one.
Why? What do you mean? Why is that better?
If you was an actor, right, surely you would...
If awards didn't exist and I was an actor, I probably wouldn't care. I wouldn't be like, I really wish someone would create an award. So this is in a universe where awards don't exist, right?
I mean, what is interesting, I think, is that these award shows are basically further publicity for movies.
I mean, yeah, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
At some point in the past, a bunch of movie studios were like, you know what? I reckon we could sell a fuck ton more if we said that ours was the best film.
Yeah, which is one of the points we made when we were discussing the Oscars, was how, you know, once the results are out, a lot of those films their marketing will revolve around, or at least feature, you know, Oscar award winning actor or Oscar nominee actress sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it is entirely just more marketing. And I feel like the movie industry already has probably more than its fair share of marketing.
yeah, definitely.
But I thought it was interesting, and I thought I'd share that with you and our dear listeners.
I'm glad you brought it to the show, Liam.
Well, that's what I do. Moving on. Culture swap. Swap my culture. I'll let you talk about this now. I've done a lot of talking.
Alright. So,
Sick of
listeners, as you know, as we told you last week, we have read the graphic novel Preacher, Volume 1.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I did a bad.
I don't know why I bother even doing bits, Liam.
Before we start Culture Swap, can I just discuss our correspondence we've had? Because we didn't really have correspondence to do with the topic Preacher. So
just to let you know, my finger is hovering over the hang up button.
I'm not going to whinge. I just want to talk about the correspondence we did get.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
So Tom Hogan tweeted us. He had some feedback. He was saying that he's a few episodes into Daredevil and he likes the Punisher character. And he said that a lecturer's introduction seemed weird. He also gave us a nice image that I noticed you haven't updated the header as yet.
Yeah, the rustly popcorn.
Yep,
have.
Oh, okay. It hasn't updated on my phone for some reason. Also, what was that about? Because I still haven't listened to the last episode.
We spoke about rustly popcorn in cinemas again.
Okay. Tom Hogan also said, also, I enjoyed the bonus episode. I would definitely like more. I would imagine a Civil War one would work when it comes. So, I like the way
Tom,
he
your
thinks.
dreams have come true.
Well, they will come true.
This is the Civil War special. Welcome to Nerd on Nerd.
Mark said on Twitter, I agree with Liam Underwood. VR's success will be dependent on pornography. There's my damn contribution.
Is that because you were pestering him so much about contributing?
Well, yeah, it's because if anyone listened to last week, they might know that I was upset that we aren't getting more fans. And I know it's presumptuous to think of you as fans, and you're clearly proving that by the fact that you don't contribute. But it was...
God, really? Your opinion of the world is so misshapen.
Yeah. That we don't get more listeners, let's say, contributing to the show with their feedback, their thoughts. I mean, we give you a good week and a half normally, or at least a week notice of what we're going to be discussing next.
You get angrier as you do them.
No, I'm not going to rant.
No, you because at the beginning you were like, whatever, it doesn't matter, and then you just slowly start talking, and you're like, yeah, I mean, the listeners, they're fans, but I guess they're not really fans because they're not really talking to us. And actually, we give them like 2 weeks to do it, and actually, this is ridiculous. You just slowly get more and more pissed off as you do it.
Well, we give them a week to kind of get involved. They choose not to, and that's their prerogative.
Because we're not
That's their prerogative, Jack.
You had this rant last week. We don't need to go over it again.
I'm not going over it again. I'm just saying, if you let me finish, I would like to say a very deep and heartfelt thank you to the two people that did bother to contribute. Now, I said last week, if we got 3, I would shut up about it. We got 2. So, that's all I'm saying. Hopefully, we'll hear from more of you next time. Culture swap. Swap my culture. What are we doing this time, Jack?
What have we done this time, Liam?
Yeah.
Is the question. This week, these last 2 weeks, we have read Volume 1 of Preacher.
Book 1.
Alright, sorry. Book 1. Asshole. Yeah, so just, listeners, we'll do a little bit where we don't spoil it, I guess.
Yeah, we can do a little spoiler-free bit, and then we'll warn you when we're going to jump into the spoilers, shall we?
Alright, yeah, fair enough.
Alright, so tell me, Jack, who was involved in creating this fine piece of work?
Garth Ennis.
What was his job?
He wrote the story, along with, I can't remember the other guy's name. I haven't got it. I don't know why you're waiting.
Steve Dillon?
Yeah.
Steve Dillon was also the lead artist.
And yeah, he helped him write it as well, a little bit.
He came up with Preacher, yeah.
If you read the blurb intro.
Yeah. There's also a couple of colourists you might want to...
Why is it every time we do a graphic novel you go through the... Like, when we do a film, you don't go through the credits?
I go through the director, at least.
Yeah, but you've done that. We've done the lead artist and the lead writer.
Yeah, but it's because there's a fuck ton with movies. With this, there's literally
Alright,
like 6 people.
Tell me who coloured Preacher.
Matt Hollingsworth and Pamela Rambeau, which is an awesome name.
You two did very good jobs.
Pamela Rambeau is one heck of a name.
That is a cool name.
Would you like to know who did the lettering?
Oh, of course.
That was Clem Robbins.
He did a good job.
Would you like to know who did the cover art and original series covers?
Yep.
Glenn Fabry.
He's a good artist. Good for him.
He really is, and that's kind of it, really. So, like each volume has its own credits, but we won't go into that.
I mean, yeah, because we're only talking about the first one.
But no, so not each volume, like each issue. Sorry.
Sorry, right, that was the confusion. Right, got you.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about the first one. So, without
What did you
spoiling
think of
it,
him?
right?
Okay, we both went for it at the same time then.
I was a little bit apprehensive because it's quite a big read. Do you know what I mean? Like, compared to a normal trade paperback, volume 1 sort of thing.
Yeah, it depends on what... Yeah, it's
That-
more like when you look at the Marvel, like, Siege and stuff, which was not volumes, it was just a storyline.
Yeah.
When you look at stuff like that, I think that's bigger. But, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's bigger than your average
Volume
1 of this.
Yeah, exactly. That would normally be, I don't know, like 70 pages. This is like, I don't know, 200 and something, probably.
Yeah.
I'll find out. 300 plus. This is over 300 pages, Jack. It's over 350 pages.
How did your little brain cope with it, Liam?
Well, this is the thing.
All those words.
I was very apprehensive because I was like, I'm at like Neverwhere. That was probably half the size of this, and I really struggled with that. Now this, I read the first volume, and I was like, look, there's a lot going on, but it's okay. Probably, not volume, issue, dickhead. By the second issue, I was hooked, and I whizzed through it a lot faster than I was anticipating.
Yeah.
To the point where... And the other thing is, because it is so dense, I've already gone out and picked up book 2 from my friendly local neighbourhood comic book store, because I want to keep the momentum going. I think if I left too long between reading this one and book 2, I would probably forget elements, and I would say there's a lot of referring back to previous issues. There was a few times where something was mentioned, and just out of my own curiosity, I want to go back and see if that tied up. There was also once, again, no spoilers. We'll get into spoilers soon, but there's a character, and once you find out something about him, if you then go back and read some of his earlier dialogue, it has a new light, which is kind of interesting and really well thought out.
Oh, okay.
But we can get into that more when it gets to the spoilers. What did you think? Spoiler free.
I really liked it as well. I think I got really into the swing about halfway through.
Okay.
Like, I read it all in one day.
Yeah.
And I read issues like 1 and 2, then I had a break.
Yeah.
Then, I don't know how many issues there were in it, but yeah, it felt like I sort of read 1, 2, had a break, 3, 4, and then after that...
I think there was 12 in total. Let me just double check. 12 in total.
Yeah, so maybe it was like 1, 2, 3. I think I did the first 3, had a break, the second 3, had a break, and then I read the rest, read straight through, because at that point I was like, oh my god, I need to find out all of the stuff.
Yeah, well, I think what's quite interesting is you can break this down into 3 kind of major storylines that happen in this book.
Yeah.
They're not quite like self-contained stories, because there is an overarching story that is still unresolved by the end.
Yeah, there's the overarching story arc.
Yeah.
And then there are 3 sub-arcs.
Yeah. But without spoilers, would you recommend this?
Yeah, 100%. If our listeners, if you guys haven't read it yet, go and get it. It's worth reading.
I would agree. Definitely go get it, and you can tweet us your thanks later. Or not. Probably not, knowing you. Spoiler time?
Yeah. So listeners,
Spoiler time.
go if you haven't read it, or if, wait, no, it would only be if you haven't read it.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it, and
or
you
if
want
you're
to,
just bored of listening to us at this point, you can stop.
If you were looking for a good bit to turn it off, you're like, I'm done. These 2 idiots don't shut up. This is that point where it's polite to turn. You can pretend. Tweet us, say, I stopped listening, but I swear it's because I wanted to go and read it.
Yeah.
And I mean, now is the time to leave if you don't want it spoiled.
I would say as well, like this is the sort of book where a lot does happen, and I would say it doesn't matter too much if it's spoiled for you, but the sort of person I am, I wouldn't want that to happen to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not... when we spoil it, it's not going to be like end of the world. I would still enjoy Preacher knowing what happened in this, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the fun is in the journey and the characterisation more so than the plot points.
Yeah, yeah.
So, let's start with Cassidy.
Yeah.
Now, let's just give a bit of context. There's 3 main characters. You've got the Preacher, who is Jesse Custer. You've got an ex-girlfriend of his, who is Tulip. And you've got a guy that just sort of stumbles into their lives called Cassidy.
Yes.
Cassidy is probably my favourite character.
Cassidy's great.
And we find out that Cassidy is a vampire.
Yeah, is he who you were saying going back and reading the other stuff
Yeah,
he says? I didn't notice that.
Really early on, he says one of his reasons for wanting to leave Texas is he wants a change of diet.
Oh, right. That is pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm sure if I read it like more thoroughly, there'd be... That was just one thing I glimpsed while flicking through it, but I'm sure there'd be more, because this is well thought out.
Oh, yeah, no, I imagine that, if you went back and read it a second time, you'd pick up on a lot more stuff.
Yeah, exactly. My only concern with this with this book is in the first issue, it really kind of just dumps a load on your plate really quickly, and there's a lot of information to take in.
Well, it's the first 2 issues.
Yeah.
I think all take place. Like the actual time you're in is they are in a diner.
Yeah, and they're talking about how they got there. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I could have done without, at least to start with, I wouldn't have minded if they'd have kind of slipped it in more gradually. Is the whole heaven stuff. Like, that to me just felt very abrupt, very sudden, and was just like, bam, heaven. Here's a load of special angels called Adelphis or something, and...
I mean, that's standard church law.
I mean, I don't know.
Adelphis and seraphs are like...
It's news to me, mate.
It's because you're a nerd, but you're not like...
Religious?
No, it's not. No, it's nothing to... Do you want to know where I actually learnt that shit from, Liam? Fucking Dungeons and Dragons, mate.
Okay. Well, as we've discussed in a previous episode, I'm not very versed in that.
No.
But yeah, that kind of stuff to me, like, it just felt like it came a bit out of left field. Like,
I mean,
the story, it does get to the point where you buy into all that stuff happening, but where they introduced it, it was, for me, just a bit jarring.
Yeah, I get that. It is very sudden.
Yeah.
It's literally, so they're sitting in the diner talking about how they got there, and you find out that Tulip and Cassidy... Tulip was doing some hitman work.
Hitwoman.
Yep, fair point. Hitwoman stuff. And then was messed it up. At the time, you think she just messed it up. And then she tried to escape from people trying to then kill her. And Cassidy just happened to be there and offered to, like, give her a ride.
Yeah, and what's interesting, you don't find out that she was being a hitwoman until, like, way towards the end. When we talk about there being 3 kind of storylines, it's the third one that you actually find that out for sure.
Yeah, but you know what she's doing in the first issue.
I didn't know she was being a hitwoman. I thought it was like revenge on a boyfriend or something.
I don't know. See, I thought it was pretty obvious that that's what she was doing.
Maybe I'm just dumb.
No, I don't think so.
No, I'd agree with that.
There you go. There's my good positive note for today. You aren't dumb, Liam.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean about it being very sudden. But
yeah.
I don't know, I sort of enjoyed that. Because I went into this, like, all I knew before about Preacher was the cover of this novel.
100% the same for me.
Right. So that, and I always assumed, like, just whenever I'd seen it, and was like, maybe I'll read it someday, I always assumed that he was going to be a bad guy.
Oh, okay. I
thought it was going to be that the main character was a bad guy, and for some reason, like, he's the messed up preacher who is killing people. I don't know why. I
mean, to be fair, while he is like the hero of the story,
he is a messed up preacher who.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's like cut and dry, good, like
no, they're
upstanding.
Not. I mean, no, he is though. That's very much because he's so we.
I mean,
yeah,
he has the word of God, and when he says. If he says things in a certain way, people have to do them, and he does tell someone to go and fuck themselves.
No, but then he also says he didn't know that was going to happen.
True,
because his whole thing is that when you but see, this is the thing, right? He is a good guy, and whenever you have one of his things, it's not that he's a good guy in that he has a set of morals and a set of rules,
yeah,
and he follows them, right?
Yeah, but he's not like a wholesome preacher. Like he'll swear, for example.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily that. Like a bad guy, like you can be a good guy and swear.
Yeah, that's it. I'd say he's
not,
good, but there's shades of grey to it.
Yeah, he's not a good preacher. See, I don't think there are. I think he's a good guy, and I think the whole point of him is that he is a good guy.
I think we'll have to...
Because his whole storyline is like his dad telling him, there's literally the quote in one of the front... Because so every issue you have, at the beginning, there's a quote that's taken from the upcoming issue.
Yeah, which I really
like
that
deals with. Yeah, that's really good. And the issue that deals with him and his dad... the quote is, you have to be a good guy, there's already too many bad guys, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's a cool quote.
Like I said,
but then
he is the hero, I just wouldn't
No, but he's also a good guy. I don't think...
agree.
There are no bits where he does something deliberately bad. Like, the bit where he tells someone to go fuck himself, they then have a scene later on where he's, like, saying, I'm gonna say something, and Tulip is like, remember what happened when you told that guy to go fuck himself, and he says, I honestly didn't think he'd take it that literally.
Okay.
So I don't think he's ever going to do anything evil.
I mean...
I sort of get what you mean about Shades of Grey, but like...
Yeah, he does kill people. He's not like Batman with
He's not killed anyone randomly.
No, he's killed people that deserves it, but he's still a murderer.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I disagree with you.
I would say, like, he's a hero. And
I think the other two are the Shades of Grey people.
Definitely more so. Like, here's the thing, right? I wouldn't say, you know... he's a villain. He's definitely a hero, and he's definitely the closest thing to a good guy we have. But he's not like a knight in shining armour kind of good guy, like completely upstanding.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. Like, there's definitely elements to him that aren't 100% pure.
All right, fair enough.
So that's the main character, Jesse Custer, which, fun fact, is an anagram for Secret Jesus.
Yep.
And
you told me that right before we recorded, and I was shocked and amazed.
Yep. So his storyline is basically he's looking for God because he wants to ask him something.
He wants to find his faith again.
Yeah, no,
because
but
all
like
this bad shit's happening to him.
Yeah, but I mean, when you say that, right, that sounds like a lot more metaphorical. He is literally looking for a God who has abandoned his post.
Yeah. But no, but he doesn't know that God's abandoned the world.
No.
At the beginning.
But I think he definitely is looking to speak to him. He's not kind of looking for his faith.
I'm not saying it's not literal either. I mean, It is literally literal. We also see God in this graphic novel as a physical character who is...
But yeah, that's his kind of story, right? He's looking for God to speak to him. Then we've got Tulip, who is an ex-girlfriend of his. They kind of stumble across each other again.
Yeah, they all randomly... So after, like, escaping from this failed hit job...
Mm-hmm.
Her and Cassidy travelled to Texas.
Yes.
Or no, is it Texas?
Yeah, I think so.
So after she escapes from this failed hit job, her and Cassidy are travelling to Texas, and they see an explosion happen.
Yeah.
Which it turns out is Jesse being possessed by Genesis, who is the child of an angel and a demon.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, what's happened over there? She decides she has to go help, I think.
Yeah.
And they just randomly meet Jessie, who's like, oh, did you come here to track me down? And she's like, no, I didn't at all. So it's a very, like, random coincidence that these three characters all meet up.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, I think a lot of his congregation die.
It's everyone in his congregation.
Yeah.
Yes, so he's then got to go on the run, because...
The cops are after
him. The police are looking for him because they think he did something. I don't know what they think he did.
Yeah, that's kind of well, I guess, you know, from the cops' perspective, he is the sole surviving member of this thing that's happened, so he's going to have some information on what happened.
Yeah.
So the first storyline is basically the cops are hunting him, and also this kind of, I guess, demon thing called the Saint of Killers.
Well, it's not a demon, is it? So the Saint of Killers is literally a saint who the angels resurrect to hunt him down and kill him.
Okay, yeah. And that's like the first kind of third of the book, right?
Yeah, the Saint of Killers storyline.
And the cop, Sheriff Root, and his son, Arseface.
Yes.
I think we need to leave that there, really, because if you want to know more about Arseface, you should probably read this to find out.
Yeah. It's not an integral part of the story, but it is a good read.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we go on to the second story, which is probably my favourite, actually.
Yeah, I think the second one. I really like the third one.
The third was good, but yeah, the second was my favourite, where so Cassidy has a friend called Cy, who is a journalist, kind of has his fingers in many pies.
Well, he's a journalist who specifically deals in, like, the occult and UFO abductions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's his thing.
And Cassidy thinks he might be able to help them in tracking down where God might be.
Yep, of course.
What they don't know is Cy is also a serial killer. Or is that,
yeah.
I mean, we can say that. We said spoilers.
Yeah. But I mean, the way they do it is very good, in that you see a serial killing happening at the beginning.
Yeah, but you don't see who does it.
Nope. You then meet Cy.
Did you realise, because I had to go back and double check this, like the first time you meet Cy, you don't actually see him. The first time you hear him, he's in a naughty shop picking up, I think, a magazine called Anal Rampage.
Yes.
And then it was only later on when Cassidy's looking at his bookshelf that he kind of connect those dots.
I realised that after Cassidy read that or saw that on the shelf.
Which I thought was, again, one of those things where it just goes to show that actual thought was put into this story.
Yeah, I'm sure they plotted out the entire, like, these stories way ahead of time, sort of thing.
Definitely.
But yeah, so they've escaped. They're in wherever they've gone to now. New York.
Yeah.
They meet Cy. Then you see the world's unluckiest detective or cop, who is a man who...
He's just a great character.
He is. He's brilliant. Like, literally. Like, I thought it was going to be one of those things where he says he's that, and then, like, some minorly bad stuff happens to him. But no. Just everything that could go wrong for him goes wrong.
Like, he'll drop his badge in dog shit, for example. Yes. It goes from little things to he's got his gun pulled on someone, and then he slips in cum.
Oh, yeah. His gun also just randomly jams on him. It's brilliant. But he is partnered with the world, like New York's greatest
Super cop.
detective.
Yeah. Who's harbouring a secret.
Yeah. It's all very, like, weird. Like, he says a lot of slurs against gay people and is constantly saying, like, he'll be mumbling under his breath that he wants to kill them all.
Yeah.
And then the world's unluckiest cop, I can't remember his name, what is it John
Toole.
John Toole, or Detective Toole, will be like, what did you say? And he's like, oh, nothing, carry on. And you're like, oh, okay, well, this is a weird guy.
Yeah, and there's also not really a strong friendship between the two. Like, the super cop kind of is very dismissive of poor John Toole.
They get drinks together, don't they, sometimes? I think there's a scene where there's a scene where Toole's, like, people in the office are just like, yeah, Toole sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, the super cop doesn't take Toole seriously.
No, not at all.
No.
But, so all of this is going down with Preacher. Preacher is experiencing New York for the first time and goes and does all the touristy stuff.
Yep. Cy is also quite closely tied into the cops' storyline.
Yes, he's the one that's been... He, like, is helping them find...
He's misleading
He's dropping
them.
hints or something. Yeah, he's, like, giving them hints about who this... Or, like, he's in some way helping the case or saying he's helping the case.
Yeah, what he's basically doing is misleading them and trying to frame someone else.
Yes.
And that also leads to an amazing story. Like, there's an amazing moment, and I don't want to go into it because I want people to experience it, but where one of our characters that we really like, they're real, like, back against the wall, and you're like, how the fuck are they going to get out of this? And the way they do is just fantastic.
But I want to... So, one of the best parts about this storyline is I have a fascination, I guess, with the way serial killers and killers are portrayed in comic books. Okay. I find it interesting. I don't in real life, it horrifies me, and I'm like, these people are terrible people. But there's something about serial killers in comic books because they're so blown up and they're like semi-genius lunatics, right? But
usually, yeah.
So you find out that this serial killer, like when Cy's talking about what he's done, he says he accidentally ran a guy over and got away with it, like no one was around, and he killed the guy by accident.
Yeah.
And then he decided that if he can get away with it once, why wouldn't he do it again?
Yeah.
And he just slowly gets worse and worse. He says that
he gets off on the thrill of knowing that he's not going to get caught.
Yeah, so he just steadily increases what he's doing to the point where the killing that we see in this section of the graphic novel, which this one kill goes on for the entire part of this story arc.
Is this the one where he cuts off someone's face?
Yeah, because that's the guy you see at the beginning.
Yeah.
Who he's going to kill and is begging to be killed. Yeah. He lasts the entire story arc.
Yes.
And Cy cuts off his face, then nails it back onto his head upside down.
Yeah.
And leaves the guy alive.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying.
It really is. I mean, this is a pretty dark story in places.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It is not a comic for kids.
No.
Also, it's one of those comics that every time like I go into a comic book shop or somewhere, like, regardless where, it's one of those things that's always recommended to me. Don't know why.
It's because you're always asking for like gory comics because you're always looking for a crossed, a similar to the crossed.
Yeah, this doesn't reach those levels,
scenes.
but this is still
but it has
good.
Gory scenes.
Yeah, that was definitely my favourite storyline though.
That's also the storyline where we lose Cassidy.
Unfortunately, yes.
At the end, he goes off on his merry way.
It makes sense because the third storyline is all about going into the past of Tulip and Jesse and kind of figuring out their history. On an individual level and then their history together. It's
also the weird thing about the end of that second arc is you get the last page or 2 pages are a what did they do next thing. So you get 2 pages and it's like Cassidy went on to, and it was, I don't know, it was like it was like the end of a film where they're like, after this Timmy went and married Lucy, but like
it's
it happens right in the middle, and it's so I was like, what is going on?
Okay, because you find out what happened to Detective John Toole, you find out what happened to his partner Paul Bridges. Then Cassidy went west, but not before stopping for a snack in his favourite Brooklyn neighbourhood.
Yep.
Of the Reverend Jesse Custer and Miss Tulip O'Hare, there has so far been no news.
Yeah, which I thought was really weird because I was like, "Wait, what's going to happen? What am I about to?" And then you literally like turn the page and you're like,
"It says
Jesse and Tulip."
It says there are 10 million stories in the naked city. So it does feel like at that point
it's because they were ending that story arc, but it is very weird when it's in the middle of a book.
Yeah, because they also don't do it with the first story arc.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It kind of feels like they weren't sure if they were going to get to continue this or not.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I didn't look it up, but it would be interesting to see like when that happened. I assume there was like a break after that or something.
Possibly. I honestly don't know. I remember like in the little there's an introduction written by Garth Ennis.
Yeah.
And he was saying their goal was just to get to issue number 66, I believe.
Yes.
So I haven't looked ahead, so I don't know if they got to that and then it was like done, or they got to that and they carried on. I have no idea. All I know is what I've seen in the comic book store is there's 6 volumes of this.
Yeah, that nearly works. So they must have got to 66.
Yeah, they probably got to 66.
If there were 12 issues in each.
Volume 1. Yeah, but if it was 12 in each, it would go beyond 66.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I assume there are some that don't have 12.
Yeah, maybe 10 or some
issues. Yeah. Would be my guess.
Yeah. So the third storyline,
which was I think my favourite.
Yeah, so that was like we said, it was all about the past. We looked at the past.
You learn about where Jesse came from,
which is a pretty harsh story.
Yeah, it's real brutal.
There's one kind of punishment that he gets.
The coffin.
Yeah, like he's submerged in a swamp in a coffin and is just basically fed air, and he's left there for a week.
The first time it's
a week.
3? Is it a week? No, it's 3 days, isn't it? The first time.
I thought it was a week.
The first time. No, see, I know this because the first time I think it's 4 days, and I know that because I thought, well, that's okay. He wouldn't have starved to death.
Okay.
Or dehydrated to death, possibly. But then the next time it happens, it's a week. And I was like, well, that's strange, because I'm sure they didn't mention how they fed him or gave him water.
Yeah, they don't mention
They don't mention it at all. And then the last time it happens to him, it's a month. So I was like, they are not explaining to me how he is surviving for so long in a coffin.
No.
It was, but yeah, no, it's like a horrible punishment. But yeah, so you find out that he comes from a family that they're like a weird cult.
Yeah.
And all the men in their family are preachers, except when there's war, and when there's war they go and be soldiers.
Yeah.
The women in the family are breeders, who their only job is to continue the genetic line.
The first one was a week.
Was it?
Yeah,
it says 4 days.
It says between the stink of my shit and puke and piss and the noise from what was crawling around outside, my week in the coffin kind of sucked. That was the first time he goes in the coffin.
Maybe it was.
And then is it 2 weeks next time, maybe, and then a month?
Check, because I'm not sure now. He's been put in the coffin for a week, 2 weeks, and a month. Liam has found out by going back and checking the comic in the middle of the podcast like an arsehole. You can put that bit in, Liam.
Thanks.
But yeah, so we're finding out that his family... See, you do it in the middle of my points as well. At least I wait for you to finish.
I just don't want you to carry on
You're
being
a dick,
wrong.
Liam.
Well, we didn't want you to be wrong, did we?
I don't care if I'm wrong. Have you not learnt this yet?
Well, maybe if you did, you wouldn't be so wrong all the time.
So the women in the family are breeders, and their job is to continue the genetic line and create the next generation of... What's their last name? La Angels.
Yeah.
Or La Angels or something.
La Angels.
Yeah, so it's clearly the Angels. But yeah, his grandma is like the head of the cult, effectively.
Yeah.
And she has 2 men with her who aren't family, but they are like members of the cult who just basically do her bidding and beat the shit out of Jesse.
And she's this like real old, haggard-looking bint that should have died like a decade ago.
Yeah, she's like super old in the novel.
Yeah. Like, she's super old when he's a kid. And this probably takes place like another 20 years past that.
He's 20-something in the novels, I think.
Okay, so then another 10 years later.
I think that is anyway. I think he is. I don't know where I'm getting that wrong, so I could be wrong as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you find out that his dad was shot in front of him when he was a kid by the 2 henchmen.
Yeah. TC and Jodie.
And it's like... And then he, I think at that point he tries to fight them. Is that when they put him in the coffin the first time?
Sure.
Possibly.
Why will you ask me details? Why?
Because you're the one that likes to fucking correct me when I'm wrong.
Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Fuck you. And then, yeah, so, like, we then find out that his childhood's, like, pretty horrible. They're trying to get him to... His grandma tries to teach him that God is the only person that loves him. Or no, she's trying to teach him that God loves him. He decides, well, clearly my gran doesn't love me. Oh, no, I'm saying it wrong, aren't I? Because his mum dies first.
Yeah. No, his dad dies, and his mum dies.
His dad dies, then his mum dies, then all the God stuff happens.
Yeah.
Alright, let me try that bit again. So after his dad dies, his mum tries to get him to escape. I don't remember, Liam. What happens?
Right. So, when he's a kid, his dad gets shot.
I've said that bit.
Yeah. Then a few years later, his mum tries to escape, and she gets killed. And then a little bit later, his best friend also gets killed.
See, at least I tried to tell it a little bit. You're just like, so his dad dies, his mum dies, his best friend dies.
Well, that is the gist of it, right?
Yeah, but what are you doing? It's not interesting.
I disagree.
What, you just saying these people died?
Yeah.
It's not interesting.
How would you say that interestingly?
I feel like what you did was listen to what I said, then when I was unsure if I was right, you just repeated what I said.
I'm going to be honest.
You said it's shit.
I tuned out and wasn't even listening to what you said.
Fuck you.
So
I'm going to make this editing real hard for you then, because I'm going to tell it again.
Right.
So, after his dad dies, his mum, a few years later, tries to escape with him. They're caught, and they kill his mum in front of him. They don't kill her in front of him. She gets taken away, I think is what happens.
Yeah.
And then, so at that point, he tries to rebel a bit, but then, like, you know, it's a grown man. It's two grown men and an old lady, and they pretty much are like, no, you're going to live with us and do what we say. His grandma then, that's when he eventually becomes a preacher, because his grandma tells him that God loves him, and he decides, well, my parents are dead. God is the only... I don't even know if it's the right order.
Well, no, it is right, but what we find out later is there is one other person who is helping him. But I don't want to say anything more than that, because that gives away too much, I feel.
Anyway, basically, he escapes from the farm, he meets Tulip, they fall in love, and then eventually Jodie and TC hunt him down and bring him back.
Yeah, and then that kind of picks up, that kind of leaves off where the comic picks up at the start.
Yeah.
With him kind of preaching in this small town.
Yes.
And Tulip, you know, she doesn't know why he left her.
Yeah, she thinks he abandoned her. And she's like, at this point, they're tied to chairs.
Yeah.
And the grandma's like, I'm going to kill Tulip.
Yeah, she finds out the hard way how bad these people are.
Yep.
Now, there's a big thing that happens where Tulip gets shot in the face.
Yes. You literally see the back of her head
come out.
Exploded off, yeah.
I, personally, was shocked by that.
Yep.
And then very quickly disappointed that they kind of retconned it.
I wasn't I don't know, because I don't look at it as a retcon. Like you said, this book feels so well planned.
Oh yeah,
I think that was always going to be the case.
Yeah, it
doesn't feel like a retcon to me. It doesn't feel like they were like, oh shit, we've made a mistake.
I guess I'm sure, like, you know, there's a pretty obvious reason why she's brought back the way she is, because she's the one that actually gets to see God and speak with him.
Yeah. So it's God that brings her back.
Yeah,
and then says, you have to tell Jesse to stop looking for me.
Yeah, but I have to admit, personally, because it was so shocking, and I was so kind of impressed by their balls to do that, and I was also like, fuck, where are they going to go from here? I get why they did it. It makes complete sense. It was just a little bit. There was a little tinge of disappointment in it for me.
Fair enough. I don't agree on that one.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Also, throughout it, he's talking to John Wayne. Done.
That's one, buddy.
Alright, so you preferred the third story, but went into his history. Mm-hmm. And that is all very much resolved by the end of the book. The only thing that I would say that I'm really curious about that is unresolved is this Saint of Killers that we see in the first kind of storyline.
Yeah, obviously, because clearly the Saint of Killers is coming back.
Yeah, because that isn't resolved at all. They kind of just go their separate ways.
He tells him to... what does he... He gives him a command right at the end.
Yeah, and he has to follow it.
And I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was just he has to get the people to show up, doesn't he? He had to get the angels to appear.
Yeah, exactly. And the Saint of Killers says, you know, we've got unfinished business here, basically. Yeah. So I'm really keen to see that play out further in future installments. I'm kind of keen to see if they bring Cassidy back. I really hope they do, because he was by far my favourite character.
I think they 100% will.
Yeah. So you made an interesting point where you said you weren't sure if Cassidy was actually a vampire or not.
No, that was just me making a deliberately over the top point. He's 100% a vampire.
Yeah, exactly. That's the impression I got. I didn't think it was that ambiguous.
No, it wasn't. I was just saying that so that you talk about the interesting stuff, but you aren't. So
we talked about it. I'll talk about John Wayne when you talk about your arsehole.
What? Why?
They're interesting things.
Not about fucking the thing we're talking about, though.
Well, anything else you want to talk about with Preacher?
No. It was really good. I really liked it.
I really liked it. So it was a good recommendation. I think we both agreed to read this, didn't we? It wasn't like someone suggested it to us.
Yeah. No, yeah, we've just been told to... Both of us had heard of it and been told to read it outside of the podcast.
And I have to say, like the covers are amazing.
Yeah, the art in it's really good.
Yeah, the art throughout is good, but the covers particularly are amazing.
They're super detailed.
The characters and like the characterization particularly is really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this a lot more than I was actually, because I was kind of almost dreading it in places, because I just thought if I don't like this is a real big read I've committed to.
Yeah.
So I was really relieved that I enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah, no, it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm definitely like on Sunday I was dog sitting, right, and I was up where my mum lives. I was going to drive down to my house on Sunday, and I tweeted the comic book store because I was getting to the end of book 1, and I tweeted them saying, "Do you guys have book 2 with Preacher in? Because I've nearly finished book 1." And I needed to know if I needed to kind of make a detour to the comic book shop on the way back to the house.
Yeah.
They came back, "Oh no, sorry, it's on order, it should be in on Wednesday." Then I got a tweet today, we're recording on a Tuesday, saying, "Guess what's coming a day early?" So as soon as I got that tweet, I jumped in my car, shot round to the comic book shop, picked up book 2, book 3 and book 4.
I mean, that's a good endorsement.
Yeah, I mean, that's how good this was.
It made you go and buy 4 other...
Yeah.
Or 3 other.
I would have probably bought 5 and 6, but they were out of stock of 5. And I didn't want to just pick up 6 for the sake of it.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
So I've asked them to let me know when 5 comes in. But I imagine, I've got, 3 volumes to get through first, so it might take me a while to get there.
It'll take you a little while.
Yeah, but I'm really keen to carry on reading this.
Yeah, cool, no, that's good. I'm going to probably get the second one.
Well, I think the other thing is, because it is quite a dense story and a lot happens, I feel like I need to keep reading it soon, because I don't want to leave too long of a gap and forget what happened.
Yeah.
And like we've discussed, because it's so well written, there's a lot of callbacks and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if in like book 2 and 3 there's also callbacks to things that happened in book 1. Like we were saying, like Arseface, that storyline definitely isn't resolved.
No, yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah, so I'm really keen to just keep the momentum going with this.
Yeah. What would you give it out of 5, Liam?
Out of 5, I'm going to say 4.
I agree. I think it's a 4-2.
Yeah, real good read. One of our better recommendations, I'd say. Like for our listeners to go out and check out if they haven't before.
Yeah. Go get it. Go get it, listeners, if you haven't read it already.
Yeah. Attaboy. What are we doing next time?
Next time, Liam, we're doing a video game.
Now, there was some controversy last time. We said we were going to do a game.
Yeah, when we were going to do a game and then you refused to do games and we did apps instead.
I didn't refuse to do games. I just wanted to do something that would be kind of a cheap way of testing the waters with that.
And then I gave you a good game and you gave me a mobile app.
I wouldn't say it was a good game if we remember my review of it.
I don't remember what you said about it. I think you're wrong, by the way. But anyway.
Yeah.
This time, we're doing a proper game. By a proper game, I mean a proper computer game.
A PlayStation 4 game.
We're a little bit late to the party, but one of us, me, has not had internet for a little bit.
Yeah.
So what we're playing is The Division.
Now, have you played any of it yet?
I have. I've already played a few missions.
Okay.
I've got a character.
Yeah.
But I'm not very far in it. I think I'm like level 3, maybe.
Okay, I've got a little bit further. I'm up to level 8, but what I'm thinking is we should have new characters that just me and you do together, so we do all of the missions together. Because I've done no co-op so far in this game.
Is that a thing? Can we have 2 characters?
Yeah, you can have, I think, 4 as total.
Oh, but I like my character.
Yeah, well, like your second one.
Well, I'm just going to make a second character that's identical to my first.
Fine. I'm going to make a different character. But yeah, because I haven't done any of the co-op yet, which is like the big kind of thing that this game tries to sell you on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a online multiplayer game.
Yeah, so I've done everything.
I think you sort of did it wrong by refusing to multiplayer.
I just don't like people. Our listeners might have picked up on that.
Yeah, I think they've noticed.
So having to play with people, like I've enjoyed it as a single player experience so far, but I'm curious what it'll be like having to play it with you.
Having to play it with me.
Yeah.
I have a question. What class are you going to be?
Doesn't matter.
Cool, because I'm support.
What does that mean? Oh, like
I'm the
Hero
one that
and
puts
shit.
down turrets and no, the one that puts down turrets and shit.
Yeah, that's what my main character's been. He's been turret and the sticky grenade thing.
Yes,
sticky bomb. I'll put it out again because it's the sticky bomb.
That's the one I'm being.
It doesn't matter.
You can't both be the same. It's not a good party structure.
Yeah.
This isn't relevant. This isn't relevant to this podcast.
Thanks for listening to Nerd on Nerd. Go on.
I thought you were gonna. What, are you doing it?
I can if you want.
I don't mind. You sounded like you wanted to.
Okay. Thanks for listening, Nerd on Nerd.
Well, no, you messed it up. I'll take over.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, Nerd on Nerd.
No, I can do this. Right, ready?
Alright, go on.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd on Nerd podcast with him, Jack Kempster, and me, Liam Underwood. If you'd like to get involved, you can tweet us at nerdonnerd or email us nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, he did it well, guys. Also, if you want to go, give us a little review on iTunes, do it.
Also,
Yeah.
let us know what you thought of something.
So, get in contact with us, guys, and let us know what your opinions were on the new stuff we covered today. So, let us know if you think that they should let you pick your character in Rust, or whether you should, whether everyone should just shut up and accept it. Just let us know your opinions.
Or talk about something that you probably actually care about, like the Suicide Squad trailer.
Yeah, that was the other news thing, and I said, talk to us about our news section.
Yeah, and you went on for ages talking about Rust, which I can guarantee probably 90% of our listeners haven't heard of.
My name's Liam Underwood. I'm gonna freak out about the listeners. Bye.
Bye!